Lexington, you can see a new and unique art installation. 12 screened prints are displayed in blue lights on Main Street, but they'll only be there for 6 more days until they're taken down and then destroyed. WKYT's Grayson Passmore has more from the artist.
It's an art installation in the center of downtown Lexington, but the pieces of art behind us here, if not sold, do have an expiration date.
Sold is a lifelong time-based work of art in which I use context itself as a medium.
Standing in front of the abandoned Starbucks on Main, now the home for his latest installation, the artist ATB explains how this works.
Sold is released in waves of 12 identical silk-screened prints. Each time one sells, the next one doubles in value, right? But there's a critical contextual constraint, and that's the fact that they're only available for up to 12 days.
After 12 days, any print from the installation, titled Wave 5, What You Get Away With, not sold, is burned in the form of a performance wake. Something that's sometimes public, but always documented, and the ashes always used in the next wave.
If this were your last day on Earth and you knew it, you would be spending it very differently.
Time is a concept ATB has been experimenting with in his work after a life-changing experience when he was 8 years old.
So my dad, when he was 36, he dove into a swimming pool and he broke his neck, and he was given 10 years left to live.
ATB says his dad's relationship with his own body changed when he became paralyzed, and so did his relationship with time, which is why the clock over the installation continues to count down.
It became really finite, and there was an endpoint on it.
The artist ATB says he plans to continue this series for years to come. In Lexington, Grayson Passmore, WKYT.